Hello, beautiful ladies. This is now our second book for review. Hopefully, all of you have purchased this book and either have it in digital form or paperback. Joyce Meyer's books to me are special because not only is it her experience that she's sharing, not only is it all of the knowledge she's gained in so many years of preaching and serving and helping others, but they're also Bible centered books. They also back up her opinion and her experience with what God says. And that to me makes me feel secure in reading these books because it's not just a person I'm listening to, but it's also God's word along the way that helps me understand, digest, and better incorporate her advice into my life. And I can change, or I can include, or I can disregard, but I always know that God is the one who's centered in her books. This book is called Living Beyond Your Feelings, Controlling Emotions So They Don't Control You. And I think all of us have had those moments where our feelings get the best of us. Sometimes we end up getting hurt, and sometimes we end up hurting others. But more importantly, we end up getting away from God's plan because our feelings can have control when we have certainty in God's hand over our lives. So let's see what this book can share with us. This is the introduction part of this wonderful book, and I hope it's God's voice that you hear, not mine. I am simply trying to serve as many as possible to hear God's word through these books. Here we go, guys. So these are the chapters. I'll give you guys a little bit of time on each page so you could look at the chapters. And there's two parts in this book. It's divided up in two parts. And there's a total of 19 chapters. So let's see what the introduction has for us. And it says, feelings are much like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which one to surf. By Jonathan Martinson. That is very true. Introduction. It seems to me that we talk about how we feel more than practically anything else. We feel good or bad, happy or sad, excited or discouraged, and 1,000 other things. The inventory of the various ways we feel is almost endless. Feelings are ever changing, usually without notification. They don't need our permission to fluctuate. They merely seem to do as they please for no specific reason that we can find. We have all experienced going to bed feeling just fine physically and emotionally, only to wake up the next morning feeling tired and irritable. Why? Why do I feel this way? We ask ourselves. And then we usually begin to tell anyone who will listen to how we feel. It is interesting to note that we tend to talk a lot more about our negative feelings than we do our positive ones. If I wake up feeling energetic and excited about the day, I rarely announce it to everyone I come into contact with. However, if I feel tired and discouraged, I want to tell everyone. It has taken me years to learn that talking about how I feel increases the intensity of those feelings. So it seems to me that we should keep quiet about the negative feelings and talk about the positive ones. As you read this book, I'm going to ask you to make decisions. Perhaps that can be the very first decision you make. Write it down and confess it out loud. Decision and confession. I am going to talk about my positive feelings so they will increase, and keep quiet about my negative feelings so they lose strength. You can always tell God how you feel and ask for His help and strength, but talking about negative feelings just to be talking does no good at all. The Bible instructs us not to speak with idle, inoperative, and non-working words. See Matthew 12:36. If negative feelings persist, asking for prayer or seeking advice is a good thing. But once again, I want to stress that talking just to be talking is useless. Proverbs 10:19 says, "In a multitude of words, transgression is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is prudent." The main theme of this book is that although feelings can be very strong and demanding, we do not have to let them rule our lives. We can learn to manage our emotions rather than allowing them to manage us. This has been one of the most important biblical truths I have learned in my journey with God. It has also been one that has allowed me to consistently enjoy my life. If we have to wait to see how we feel before we know if we can enjoy the day, then we're giving feelings control over us. But thankfully, we have free will and can make decisions that are not based on feelings. If we are willing to make right choices regardless of how we feel, God will always be faithful to give us the strength to do so. Living the good life that God has made ready for us is based on our being obedient to His way of being and doing. He gives us the strength to do what is right, but we are the ones who must choose it. God won't do it for us. He helps us, but we must participate by choosing right over wrong. We can feel wrong and still choose to do what is right. Nobody can consistently enjoy life until they are willing to do that. For example, I may feel like shutting someone out of my life because they have hurt my feelings or treated me unfairly. But I can choose to pray for them and treat them as Jesus would while I'm waiting for Him to vindicate me. If I act according to my feelings, I will do the wrong thing and forfeit peace and joy. But if I choose to do what God has instructed me to do in His Word, I will have God's reward in my life. Feelings in and of themselves are neither good nor evil. They're just unstable and must be managed. They can be enjoyable and wonderful, but they can also make us miserable and drive us to make choices we eventually regret. Unbridled emotions might be compared to a small child who wants to have and do everything, but does not understand the danger some of those things present. The parent must control the child, or he will surely hurt himself and others. We must parent our emotions. We must train them to serve us so we don't become their slave. If you are ready to master your emotions, this book is for you. I believe I will be able to help you understand some of your feelings, but understanding them is not nearly as important as controlling them. Make a decision that you will no longer let your feelings control you. This book could be one of the most important books you have ever read. The principles in it agree with God's word and will put you in a position of authority rather than one of a slave. You can have victory rather than being a victim. You don't have to wait and see how you feel every day before you know how you will act. I believe this book will help you understand yourself better than ever before and also equip you to make decisions that will release God's best into your life. Decision and confession. I choose to do what is right, no matter how I feel. That, my darlings, is the end of the introduction. I hope this book inspires you to look at your emotions, to give your emotions over to God, and to ask Him to help you rule over emotions so we can make sound decisions that serve God's plan and allow us to love fully. I love you guys greatly, and we shall read each other and hear each other in the beginning of this book. God bless, and goodbye.